All right, we are live. Here we are, 3 days of football. I'm Adam.
Hello. Miles.
Like,
And we're going to talk about the championship weekend of the NFL, starting right off with the NFC championship with Tampa Bay against the Packers, which I'm pretty sure everyone that I remember would have picked the Packers for this game.
Mhm.
I know I would have. I know we didn't get to a podcast last week. Some shit happened, so no one got our picks. But I'll tell you right now, had I picked, I would have picked the Packers, and I would have lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have done it solely on spite.
I know, but dude, with this game, all right, so it was a phenomenal first half for Tampa Bay and Tom Brady. It really was. They had a great game. They had great defense. They completely shut down Rodgers pretty much. Devontae Adams, I think, only had like 2 or 3 catches in the first half, something like that. They shut him down pretty much the whole damn game. And what happened to Jones? He went out in like the first play. What was it,
Yeah.
chest injury?
I don't know for sure, but yeah, he went out and he wasn't back.
No, I didn't.
I'll tell you what, though. Dylan
Go
looked
ahead.
good. Dylan looked good.
Dude, Dylan looked great. That's what I was just fixing to say. Like, man, why did they not lean on him more? I mean, he moved a pile of like 6 dudes.
Yeah.
dude, that guy, have you seen his legs?
Yeah, well,
His
yeah.
legs, he's got like an F-150 coming off of both sides. I mean, he's worth every bit of draft capital they put into him. I just thought it was kind of weird that they get him with other guys to have on the team. But yeah, he's definitely going to be a superstar one day, man. He's got it all over him.
Yeah, and the fact that they really could have utilized him, in my opinion. I mean, obviously I don't know dick, but I'll tell you one thing I do know is I would have went for it and not the fucking field goal that everybody was talking about. Even as they did it, the announcers were like, "What are they doing? Why are they doing this?" And I was telling Miles, Mike, even before we went live, even had they have made it or won the game, that would still be a talked about play as a what the fuck moment.
It is, because they basically doubled the amount of work that they had to do. Now, the thinking is, okay, we got to get some kind of points while we're down here. Fine. But if you don't, and you're talking about the fourth quarter, they're down there, the last drive they had the ball. It's like, 2.5 minutes left, and they're on like the 8 or 9 yard line. So I get it. Fourth and goal from the 8 is not a gimme. But if you don't make it, you're still down 8 points, and you still have to score a touchdown. So if you get the field goal, you still have to get the ball back and score a touchdown. It's like, just take a shot. I mean, okay, so you're going to tie it and probably go to overtime. But at the same time, man, I mean, these guys and their analytics, and they outthink themselves sometimes. And he just completely shit the bed in the moment. That's the only way you can describe it. Because if they got the ball back, I mean, you go from having to okay, we'll put it this way. If they don't get the touchdown, if they give the ball back to him at the 8 yard line, then Tampa Bay has to play it totally differently than they do after they receive the kickoff and get out to the 30 or 40 or whatever. They don't call the same plays. They're trying to be safe and run the ball. They probably go 3 and out, and then Green Bay's going to get the ball back with time left. And that's the only outcome you can really go towards with any hope of it. I mean, so many other things had to go right for them after that field goal. There's no chance they would have won that game.
No. And even – I mean, who in their right mind says I'm going to give Tom Brady the ball with 2 minutes left to go and play my game? I mean, my God, like assess the situation here for a second. Like anybody but him give that chance to. I'm blown away. And honestly, that's a fireable offense in my mind. I mean, that is just if that's what your mind is going to do under that kind of pressure, where you're going to fold like that and just not know what to do, then you don't deserve to be a fucking head coach.
All right, so let's talk about the play right before the field goal, though. When they were down there, dude, I know y'all saw this because I saw it live. I saw it as it was happening. Like, dude, just run it in.
Yeah.
Just run it in, dude. You got nothing but real estate in front of you. Go, what the hell? And what does he do? He throws it into triple coverage. Now, he came out today, or maybe it was in the press conference last night. He came out and said, you know what? LaFleur let that play up to me. He let me choose it. Had I known we were going to kick the ball, I would have chose a different play. I was like, no, fuck that, dude. You can't say that because they kicked, no, you can't do that.
Well, Rodgers is like he doesn't like to take blame for anything. I've noticed. It doesn't appear that way. And But and rightfully so in some things that he's been put up to. But I mean, yeah, why he didn't run the ball in, I don't get that. I don't understand because that makes me question his, how much he wants it and like what is it worth to him. I don't know. I just feel like if you really are trying to go somewhere and do this, and you see that, you're gonna fucking go for it. You're not like what? I can't wrap my head around that one either. I really can't. I don't.
No, because that's your path to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Because right now you got the same record as Donovan McNabb in NFC Championship games, and how much does Donovan McNabb get talked about in today's football? Not a fucking bit, and neither should Aaron Rodgers. Neither should Aaron Rodgers.
Is one of the best regular season quarterbacks ever. Dan Marino was 2. Mm-hmm. Brett Favre was 2. Brett Favre won 1 Super Bowl, and Marino didn't win any. Phillip Rivers, Dan Fouts, there's a long list of guys who could just put up video game numbers for their entire career, but they can never get there in the playoffs because of one reason or another. Rodgers is definitely fitting that bill, but let's be honest for a second here, okay? So the whole game wasn't about the fourth quarter and that, although that destroyed any shot they had left, and they probably still should have at least gone to overtime. We'll never know. But 3 possessions in a row. The Buccaneers threw 3 interceptions. Brady threw the ball 3 times to the other team, 3 times in a row, and they got 6 points off of those turnovers. That's what lost the game. What lost the game was the fact that they couldn't convert good field position, momentum on their side. I mean, hell, by the time you get the third one, man, you got to score something. And they didn't get shit. That's the middle part of the game. Now, it was a good contentious back and forth game, but it shouldn't have been. Tampa Bay should have lost this game. They would have lost this game to just about any other team under those circumstances. And they kind of lucked out. And, I mean, that's really all you can say is that they lucked out. They happened to get a couple breaks go their way, and they played well enough to, hang in there at the end. But Green Bay, man, I hate it. He's not going to have another shot. That's his last best shot to win one.
Conservative play calling, man. You've got 2 safeties that haven't played or started all year long for Tampa Bay, and they throw the ball down the field 1 time, I think, maybe 2 times. And the rest of the time, they're just running it up the middle with fucking Jamal Williams. And the other guy did look good on his few plays. But, I mean, I just feel like they abandoned what was good to them, just like, we'll get into this, but just like the Bills. I mean, they just – I don't know what the fuck happened.
See, the thing is with Green Bay, it was very reminiscent of Week 6 when they played Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, I think they've only had like 13 they had 15 sacks for the year. 10 of them came from Tampa Bay. 10 of those sacks came from Tampa Bay. And, dude, they got the pressure on Aaron Rodgers yesterday. Yeah. They truly did. And another thing about, the Packers' defense looked like shit. I mean, they really did. I mean, Leonard Fournette, don't get me wrong, he's a great running back, really good. But, man, he had a hell of a day yesterday.
He did.
And was just running it all over them.
Yeah. He did. And how about that play before the end of the first half? And this is typical Tom Brady team, the Patriots. Yeah. They would always steal one of those possessions right before halftime, then get the ball back. And sure enough, it was like, 3 seconds left. Yeah. Instead of going for, or is 8 seconds left before the end of the first half. Instead of like a little, out pass to kind of get up and kick a field goal, they just launched it. And I don't know what the fuck defense that was. That's a fireable offense. That defense that they ran that let that guy get 5 yards behind him, no safety help. And basically he's catching a pop fly. That's won the game. That touchdown was the difference in the game, if you want to look at it like that.
And see, they're even talking about getting rid of that defensive coordinator in Green Bay.
He didn't help.
No, obviously not.
He didn't help his cause.
He didn't help at all, dude. I tell you what, Matt LaFleur, he should be in question, dude. His job should be in question. I mean, like Miles was saying, that's a fireable offense right there to go to just give up. I'm sorry, a field goal is just giving up.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Like Mike explained it very well. I mean, you would still have to have gotten a touchdown. It's not like you get a field goal and you could possibly get another field goal. You had to get a touchdown, correct? Am I right?
You didn't get 2 touchdowns. No. Once they kicked the field goal, they were down 16 points.
I thought they were down 8 points, and they would have went for it and got a 2-point conversion. They would have been tied.
They got back down there and scored really quick. And so at the drive that we're all talking about, they were only down 8 points at that time.
Yes. So if they would have gotten that touchdown and gotten a 2-point conversion, that would have tied the game at that point, right? Which is what they should have done. I don't understand, or at least gallantly tried, and gone out with in the blaze of glory, or not glory, but in blaze of effort.
The best player in the league this year is your quarterback. I mean, give him 4th and 8.
Yeah.
I don't know, but LaFleur, he's young. He was his 2nd or 3rd year now.
Yeah.
I think it's his 3rd. So he's going to learn from this. He'll get better or he won't. But I mean, this is the type of stuff. The other coaches in the past, they just this can kind of mark you. At the same time, Shanahan before he left the Falcons, with the whole thing with the comeback, and then you got the Super Bowl and lost that. I mean, that's one of those things that people are now kind of looking at you a certain way, and I mean, for whatever that means, it's still one of those things that can kind of dog him the rest of his career. He's going to have to figure out a way to, play low risk. I mean, to me, that play was risky. To me, that play, kicking the field goal, is actually the opposite of safe, because now you're trying to still play for the win. It's almost like tying the game with a touchdown and going to 2 for 2 to try to win it instead of the extra point to go to overtime. Exactly. It's kind of the same mentality, but you get older and you learn, hopefully. But I mean, how many more chances is he going to get without Aaron Rodgers?
Maybe none.
Didn't the same thing happen in the Buffalo game? Like they shouldn't have went for the field goal, and they were down that many, and then they actually ended up getting the onside kick or whatnot, and then they were still down 2 more possessions.
That was weird too.
That's what I'm getting confused with. Is that shit right there?
Oh.
But the thing is, it's like how can on one hand LaFleur do that play, and on the other hand he's smart enough to do an encroachment to get a 4th timeout, basically.
No, that was slick. I remember that. That was cool.
Yeah. But how can you make sense of that? That I'm smart enough to do this, but yet I can't do this. Like
because to me, LaFleur is a much more statistical person. He's about the numbers. He's not really much he can't relate in a way a player does, if that makes sense.
Man, we live in a gray world, not a black and white world.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. He's a very black and white coach, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and they said, the probability of them they would only increase their odds of winning by 0.5% had they done it the opposite way or something like that. 0.5%. I mean, like, who's
all about
doing that? Right? Who's coming up with that shit?
Stupid, man. It's insane. And Green Bay's going to be fucking livid for this until the next season starts.
Yeah. I mean, the fans should be.
Yeah, they're not going to be as good next year. I mean, the odds are so against it. I mean, you get 2 or 3 really good years out of a roster, and then pieces kind of start to float away, fall apart, get too expensive. And, yeah, it's going to be rough for them to rebuild and get back to the level they were this year. Like I said, I think this is Rodgers' last best shot. But on LaFleur, last thing I'll say, I mean, analytics. I mean, you can't have analytics without anal. And being anal retentive, sometimes you outthink yourself, and in the heat of the moment, you go backwards, man. That's all you can really say about that 4th quarter.
That's a great segue into backing up of some of the worst sacks that Josh Allen took yesterday in that fucking game against Kansas City. Dude, he was going backwards like 15, 20 yards getting sacked. Still hold on to the ball. Even got a intentional grounding penalty. He looked just like he did last year in the playoffs.
Yes.
He has a long way to mature, man. I really thought he had it. I really did. Coming into this postseason, the first game, I mean, I thought he had it. And he looked like a kid yesterday, the same way he did last year. When he gets frazzled, he can't overcome it.
I agree with you 100%, but I think the coaching staff deserves a lot of blame because I think they went off their normal track, and I think that he wasn't comfortable with that even. I mean, it just didn't look right. It did not look like the Buffalo Bills we've been watching all season. They were trying to. I mean, I didn't even know T.J. Yeldon was still in the NFL. And I just giving it to Singletary time after time after time. I mean, did I don't even know that Josh Allen had any positive rushing yards. Maybe 1 or 2 plays. That was it.
I know he had 2 plays, and I was wrong about. Sorry, I hate to go back to the Tampa game, but I was totally wrong about Fournette. He only had 55 yards and 12 carries. He seemed like he had a much better day. But anyways,
he had
go ahead.
Some critical runs. Yeah, he had some critical runs there that got him some first downs and stuff. I mean, sometimes those 5-4 yard runs, if they're converting 3rd down into 1st down, they're just as big as a 10-yard scamper or whatever.
Yeah.
One last thing about that game. What is you guys know about contractual shit more than I do? What is Devontae Adams at right now? Has he got is him? I mean, I'd be pissed if I was him. Like, I'd be pissed.
I don't know. I don't know dick about his contract, man. I know he's not. There's no talk about him being up for anything. I think Mike's looking it up right now. Looks like he's doing something.
Like, can he escape that madness?
I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I think I think they just re-signed him. Like, he's on like his second deal. I'm gonna make sure. Adams.
If he's on his second deal, he's probably on his second year of that deal.
Yeah, so he's still in the expensive years. He's not going to be tradable or cuttable or any of that type of stuff.
So that's why he's been quiet then.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere. Plus, he doesn't want to go anywhere where there's not a good quarterback because Rodgers is all about him.
True.
What's his name? Devontae Adams.
DEV. I'm going to stop right there.
Yeah, I can't. Right. But anyway, yeah. I mean, he's expensive, and I mean, you got Aaron Jones is going to be expensive too.
Is he though?
Any cheaper. Mm-hmm.
Is he because he has been beat up. He's been beat up the whole last half of the season.
Yes.
And he's hurt again now.
Yes.
Is he a free agent this year, Mike? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think so. I think he's got at least one more year.
Oh, does he? Well, I'll tell you what, that Dillon boy, he's gonna be a hoss, man. Yeah. But anyways, all right, yeah. Let's jump back to the Kansas City game.
Yeah.
That now, had we had picked that game and got together, I would have picked Kansas City. I think we all would have.
Probably. Yeah. I wanted the Bills to win, but yeah.
No, I wanted the Bills to win, but Kansas City, I picked them from the beginning of the year. So I mean, it's kind of hard to pick against them. It's kind of like it's kind of hard to pick against Tampa Bay at this point.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, are you picking against Tampa Bay or are you picking against the greatest quarterback of all time? Dude, face it, he is.
We'll save that for the end of the show.
All right. But that's fine.
I think both Green Bay and Buffalo, the losers yesterday, suffered from a lack of confidence in their coaching abilities, it seemed. I mean, they just flipped their scripts. They did not look the way they did all year. And then, defensively, that's on both sides of the ball. I thought that I couldn't wrap my head around why the Bills kept playing zone. Like, I'm not a defensive guru, but if you keep on doing that, and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce are just hitting it wherever the hell they want on the field, why do you not put, like Tony Romo was saying, sticky? Why are you not sticky into them? Why are you letting them do that to you, but you're not doing it to them? They just did what they wanted in the middle of the field, it seemed like. I mean, and that's
let's be fair, dude. Kansas City's players, they're not very stickable, if you will. I mean, you're not sticking to them guys. Now, Buffalo, all they have really is Diggs and Beasley, which Beasley's a big workhorse, man. He's the Drew Bennett of that team, if you ask me. But, I mean, Buffalo's defense couldn't handle their secondary, couldn't handle, covering them. And nobody's going to handle Tyreek Hill, man. No. I don't see Tampa Bay being able to do that. Guy's a freak.
Yeah,
Kelce set him up.
What's that?
Kelce set him up. Kelce completely set him up. I mean, they started going to Travis Kelce over and over again, and Tyreek Hill just started getting wide open because you can't cover them both. And if you start really showing a preference to one, the other one's going to start to get loose. And Tyreek Hill, he was doing some things he hasn't done most of the season in this game, which is a lot of this open field, using the middle of the field. They've used him on a lot of these like crossing route, jet sweep type things, deep passes, but they don't really let like Devontae Adams, perfect example of a guy who's going to catch the ball after like 7-10 yard slant, and he's going to try to cut back, turn it upfield. He's going to make some guys miss. And Tyreek Hill depends a lot more on his speed, but this time he had this one play that was like 70 yards, and he made like 5 guys miss on him, and it was awesome. And as soon as they start having to be like, oh shit, we got to worry about this guy, Travis Kelce. I mean, he was so productive, and they couldn't stop him. Here's the thing too, on your point earlier about Josh Allen, about him kind of like mentally losing it. They were up 9-0 at the beginning of the game. It kind of looked like they were about to get out to a bigger lead. And then all of a sudden things started to change. And then Kansas City scored. Then they scored again. And I think he understood, okay, there's no way we're going to be able to stop them from scoring. I'm going to have to match them, which means I got to turn it up and do everything I can do. That's when he starts taking these big losses, throwing these, dumbass rocket balls, and all the stuff just started like snowballing down on him from there. He was not mentally tough enough for that game. He had all the physical tools, and couldn't hang, man.
Yep.
Unfortunate.
Now, he does have the physical tools himself, but he doesn't have as many weapons as Patrick Mahomes has. I mean, he just doesn't.
I agree with that statement, but at the same time, it was a pretty poor showing on his part, to blame him. I blame him to a degree. I mean, it's when you cannot walk the ball backwards 25 yards.
No, I'm with you on that. There's no excuse for that. I absolutely agree.
You just cannot do that. And he almost wanted to, there was several times where I was like getting up screaming, throw the fucking ball.
Yes, I was doing the same thing. It was funny because Natalie was like, "Why are you talking to the TV?" And Jessica kept trying to say, "It's like guys just do that when they're watching football. Don't worry." And dude, I kept doing it throughout the whole night because there were so many times where I was just like, "Oh my gosh, what the hell is going on here?" Because I mean, Buffalo, they did come out with a 9-0 lead, but come on, man, that was luck. That was luck that they got. I mean, their drive really. Their drive only netted them that 3 points, and then they got the other one off a turnover. Am I right?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, it wasn't a turnover, I guess. It was. It was a muffed kick. So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, but, yeah, so Josh Allen didn't score any points for Buffalo.
Well, they took away a safety blanket. I mean, Beasley had kind of a light day. Diggs disappeared just about, and they figured if they took those two guys out of it and made him have to really think about it, I don't know what kind of coverages they were running on him, but let's say this about the Chiefs defense, man. They came to play. They don't have, I would say a top 10 defense. They're not the worst, but I mean, they're kind of an average defense with some guys who can make plays, and they were getting to him. They were covering guys. All the catches were contested, and they were delivering some hits. I saw Matthew. He was doing everything, man. He was rushing the quarterback. He was getting involved in plays, and they were just nasty. And that's what you got to be in January. If you're going to keep playing into February, that's what you got to do. And they did it at the right time, man. They showed up with the perfect game plan. Buffalo, that running the ball shit, I mean, it's just goes back to trying to outsmart themselves. It's the same thing we were just talking about with a different team.
Yep. And the whole thing with them running the ball is, maybe in some cases that works in the regular season, but once you get into the postseason, you go with what worked to get you there. Yep. You're not going to try to experiment with new plays or, these new schemes or a new style of play. Shut up and do what got you there in the first place.
I mean, how's this a new concept? Why can't people just listen to that? That's exactly what you're supposed to do. If you don't run the ball a year, which they haven't, they're one of 2 or 3 teams that traditionally cannot run the ball. You don't suddenly become a running team in the playoffs. It is impossible. No one can do it. Maybe for like a quarter. If you've got the lead and you're trying to run the clock out, perhaps you can get it done. But, I mean, when the game is contested and you're trying to get the lead, you don't have the skills to be able to get it done. These guys have been playing against tough run teams on the other side all year long. They're not just going to give it to you. I don't know. It's completely stupid to me.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. Absolutely.
That shows in the coaching how, that they obviously the older coaches, the more experienced coaches did better by doing exactly what you're saying, sticking to their plan and not overthinking things, because it showed. I mean, both Reed and Arian were obviously the better coaches in both of them.
Dude, what the fuck is that on Arian's chest? That Darth Vader looking control panel they got going on?
Who? What?
I didn't see that.
Arians. Have you seen that on the sideline, dude? He looks like he's got this like Darth Vader, is that like some kind of morphine pump or diabetic medicine bullshit?
It might be, because he looks unhealthy.
It cannot be your mics, dude. Come on, Mike. I'm sure you've seen it.
I didn't see it. I mean, he's had a lot of health problems. It could be anything. I mean, he took a couple of seasons off.
He's had the same thing on, but it's only been throughout the postseason, and it's not nothing electric. It has nothing to do with his damn earphones or anything like that. This looks like no one else is. I haven't seen this.
Yeah, it's something he wears like a fanny pack around his
chest.
It's around his chest, yeah.
Yep, it goes across his chest, and like I said, it looks like some kind of Darth Vader control panel of some sort.
Could be some Houston Astros sign stealing madness going on. Somebody's on the other side, kind of reading the play sheet, like tap, 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 tap,
Yeah, like an SOS machine going on there or something. That makes perfect sense. So the matchup now, Tampa Bay and Kansas City. And Tampa Bay is going to be the home team, which is the first time that has ever happened in Super Bowl history.
5 years. Yep.
Wow.
Pretty strange. But I don't think Brady needs any extra help there, to be honest with you.
In a twist of irony, they actually are going to make them the visiting team.
That is hilarious.
It is.
That's stupid. I mean, it doesn't matter. Except for the coin flip, that's the only thing that matters is they get to call the coin flip. So, I mean, kind of works out in their favor anyways. It's a home team and a home game and they get to call the coin flip.
I mean, it might make a difference if this is a normal Super Bowl, but I don't think anybody's going to be there from Tampa Bay, really. It's going to be rich people that have got a lot of money that have paid for this, and then those healthcare workers, and that's it.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah, which I think that's really cool, by the way, that they did that. Because guess what? They're all vaccinated, so it's not like anybody can catch COVID.
Well, you can't go wrong there.
Oh, I'm not throwing shade on that. I agree with that. I'm fine with that. I like it, but I don't think there's going to be your typical fan who might pay $2,000 or $3,000 for a fucking seat way up in the nosebleeds.
I'm sure there's not. So my question is, do you go with Old Faithful or you go with the new and shiny?
That's tough because, I mean, in my perspective, I see, Tampa Bay's defense just looking really strong right now. They're able to rush the pass. They're able to, even with those safeties in, they were able to, hold off Devontae Adams if they can do that with him. But it's hard to, I mean, this is a really evenly matched Super Bowl, I feel like. I feel like both of these teams are at the top of their game. And, the only thing that I could see really being see, the funny thing is Kansas City, I can't think of, they don't really have a pass rush. So, and unless they can come up with a pass rush in the next week, it's going to be hard to get Tom Brady off. And even if he gets off, like he did with Green Bay, throwing in 3 interceptions, like, I don't know. I mean, I lean towards Kansas City simply because even in a situation, if Tampa Bay were to come out firing and get 2 or 3 touchdowns, I'm not worried about Kansas City. I think they've got the ability to come back and do that. For Tampa Bay, I just don't know if they have that. I mean, I think that they've been a play ahead team. They haven't really been a come from behind team this year, if we're calling things correctly.
No, I believe you're right, but here's my thing with looking at Tampa Bay's offense versus Kansas City offense. It's very similar, simply because of all the weapons that Tampa Bay potentially has. I mean, they're getting Antonio Brown back. I mean, I know he's not that big of a threat, but fucker can catch the ball. You got Godwin. He's doing great. Evans tore it up. Pieces. I mean, they have a lot of pieces. I mean, even Gronk. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
he's a B-cast player. I mean, he's not even in there every down.
He's not at all. But I mean, he's still. When he is in there, you gotta account for him.
Yep.
You've got to worry about him. And he
did have a big play in that game the other day.
He did. He got over 20-something yards in it, and a touchdown. Right? Didn't he get a touchdown?
No, I don't think he got a touchdown.
I thought he had a touchdown.
Let me see.
I thought he did.
Yeah, it's death by 1,000 cuts. I mean, it's in some respects it's similar to what Kansas City have, but I don't think And Mike Evans had a bad game. Traditionally, I'd say Mike Evans, Tyreek Hill, they're kind of 1A, 1B, a couple of the best receivers in the league, and then they have other guys that can play. I mean, Kansas City might get Sammy Watkins back for this. I'm not a big Sammy Watkins fan, but I mean, he has that one game a year where he does something.
It's another set of hands that can potentially get you in the end zone.
Yep.
Yeah, and the other guys for Kansas City, man, I mean, they had a lot of guys who could play. Pringle made some plays. He's an unknown receiver. Hardman had the one muff punt, but he came back and had a couple of big plays and scored. They have all kinds of guys on the team, and you got to think. I mean, they even had that rookie running back that we can't pronounce his name. They didn't have Le'Veon Bell, and they were still able to give him fits. I think they're going to do the same.
He's coming back. He's going to be there. I mean, he's not much of a threat. I don't care what anybody says. I'm not impressed with Bell one bit, but I mean, they are getting him back for the Super Bowl.
He's better than average. He's a guy, and he's not some scrub off of the practice squad, so that counts for something. But
Tampa Bay did have to bring up a safety from the practice squad to replace somebody. Who the hell was that? The guy went out, and he's not going to be back for the Super Bowl from Tampa Bay. Same thing happened to a guy from Kansas City too.
Yeah, Kansas City lost Eric Fisher. He tore his Achilles. So that not only is he going to miss the Super Bowl, which is bad enough, he's probably going to be ready for the start of the season. That's like a 9-month injury.
That sucks.
I tell you what, man, if you could get Tampa Bay's defensive line and swap them out with the Kansas City Chiefs defensive line, then I would say the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win all day long. Does that make sense? I mean, because like Tom is he's great, but look, like 3 interceptions, man. They deserve to lose that game.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mahomes is not going to have 3 interceptions. He may, but he probably, more than likely, he's not. I think Tom Brady's definitely thrown more interceptions than Mahomes has this season. Mahomes is right now, as that stands, he's the better quarterback. So,
but he's on that level.
He can't be affected by a pass rush either. He's so freaking mobile, man, and he's so quick to do whatever's necessary. Left-handed, underarm, behind the back, whatever. How he gets it done. And Tom Brady doesn't have that mobility. But I don't know if Kansas City's Chiefs defensive line is strong enough to really put pressure on. We'll see. They did they did Josh Allen all right, but
yeah, I don't think they are either.
They're talking if Mahomes wins, he'll be the young back to have 2 Super Bowl championships. That record is currently held by none other than Tom Brady, who did it when he was 26.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's all kind of little things that are up in the air for, this to work out. But I can't go, oh, God, I don't want to pick this. I don't want to pick, honestly.
It's not going to – I tell you what, I don't think this is going to be a shit show like either one of those games yesterday. I think the coaching staff and, the players are going to be there to stand up for the moment. I don't think we're going to see any abandoning game plan and horrible decisions.
I think the best matchup is going to be Bruce Arians against Andy Reid.
Mm-hmm. That's
what this game is all about.
Yep. Yeah. But, Andy Reid's not the typical Andy Reid. Andy Reid's he's far upgraded with the cast he's got there now. So, we're used to all the Eagles teams that did really well back in his earlier days, and it was kind of on him towards the end of the game, your clock management stuff that he wasn't really good at and trying to run the ball, which he wasn't really good at because Andy Reid wants to throw the ball 60 times a game, screen passes and the whole nine. Now, he's kind of expanded a little bit, but he's got Patrick Mahomes. And, Mahomes can cover up a lot of stuff, man. At no point in this game, the Super Bowl, are the Chiefs going to be out of it. And, you just have to look back to last year, the Texans playoff game. They can come back and start scoring in bunches, 35 points in a quarter if they had to. I have no doubts about that. So it's going to be a good game regardless. The only way it wouldn't be is if they really, started skunking Tampa Bay. I know it's Tom Brady, but I don't think he's really got the fresh legs and the cast around him to be able to come back. Kind of like what you were saying early, Miles. They played from ahead a lot. And, Tampa Bay's chance to win this game is going to be in the first half if they get out to the lead. And they've got some guys that can be able to put the clock away and get those first downs and stuff because that's what he's good at. He's not a field-stretching quarterback. He's a guy that frustrates you, and he gets to third and manageable, and he gets first downs over and over again. And that's how he's got all those rings. All those rings.
Is Byron Leftwich the offensive coordinator, or is he the quarterback's coach?
Offensive coordinator.
Offensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. Do you think there's a chance of him going to Houston?
I don't know. I don't think he'd want to. Honestly, I think I think he knows his stock's going to climb next year, and he's going to wait for a better job to open up. I don't think anybody wants to go to Houston.
No, he was with Arians in Phoenix, wasn't he? Or Arizona, wherever?
Yes.
He's been with him.
Yeah, he's been with him for a minute. He was the quarterback's coach out in Arizona.
The last couple of years he played, he was backing up Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh, and he would come in and relief pitch a game or two every season and do really well, but they said he was more of a coach player the last couple of seasons. I think he probably could have been to this point a couple of years ago. I think he's taken a really slow and methodical approach, not like a lot of these guys that rocket out of college and, get a lot of clout and fall on their face. And he's growing the right way, man. Arians is a guy. Arians used to coach under Bear Bryant. He's had a lot of experience under some guys that know some things. And I think Leftwich is going to make a fantastic head coach whenever he decides to pick his spot. And he'll be able to pick his spot.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Speaking of spots to be picked, man, there's all kind of head coaching jobs. And matter of fact, Houston is the only one that does not have it. And dude, there are some crazy hires right now. Like the Eagles agree to terms with Coach Nick Sirianni he's offensive coordinator for the Colts. So,
and then the Jets got the defensive coordinator from San Francisco.
Yes,
could be good.
Well, yeah, I mean that could be something if he gets a little help with the draft. Maybe,
and the Falcons got Titans offensive coordinator Arthur Smith. The Lions got Dan Campbell. Yeah. Now the Lions got Dan Campbell. Did anybody see this?
Oh, I got some thoughts about this one.
Did y'all hear the press conference that he gave?
Yeah.
Miles, you didn't see that? Oh my God, Miles, you need to see that.
Who is Dan Campbell?
It doesn't fucking matter. Just mute your thing and watch that clip. You just gotta watch a clip of it. Me and Mike will talk for a second, but seriously, you've got to watch that clip. For the love of God, watch the clip.
It's fucking mind blowing. I mean, this is why the Lions are the Lions and have been the Lions, and they will always be the Lions. Lions are not going anywhere with this guy. This guy has never been a coordinator. Not that 100% matters. He's been an assistant coach in New Orleans for the last couple of years. But, I mean, what did you get? You need a guy to make the most out of the roster. Let me tell you, man, them hiring Dan Campbell is the reason Stafford is now on the trading block. They're saying they're actively trying to trade him because he looked at that shit as like, no, man, I'm out. I've got 3 or 4 years left. I'm not going to spend them with this dude. Talking about biting off kneecaps and taking people down and street fighting in the press conference. No. It was so terrible. When you have it's an affront to everything that the NFL is trying to build because Eric Bieniemy still has no job. He's still an offensive coordinator, and he's not going to Houston. He'll be there next year. So he got passed over again for 7 openings, which one of them went to Dan fuck Campbell. No.
This guy looks like a UFC fighter off one of those reality shows or something. Like I don't know.
Dude, closer to that than a head coach.
If the hunting section of the Walmart in Madison, Tennessee was a coach, it would be fucking Dan Campbell, man.
You come up with that yourself? That's good.
I absolutely did. I'm serious, dude. If you watch that, when you watch that damn press conference, I mean, I was cringing just listening to it.
It's a Rex Ryan press conference.
Oh my gosh! It was.
I watched 10 seconds of it. I mean, just the dude's voice and the way he's talking. I mean, just now I'm like, what? This doesn't look like.
You're still in there with your suit on and your tie, which I mean, from the way you're wearing it, clearly you never wear a suit and tie. Just walking in jeans, man. Spurs jangling, coming there talking all this big dick energy. It's like, here's what's gonna happen, man. You're gonna have a real shitty first season, and that's gonna look stupid. You're going to look stupid, and they're going to feel stupid for hiring you. You'll be there 2 years and somewhere else. I mean, just take the job and say thank you. What the fuck, man?
We're going to try our best. There's, this kind of stuff.
I didn't hear that part.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it was followed or
Yeah, it followed the rest of the bullshit that he started it off with. I mean, no, it was embarrassing, dude. I mean, it really was. I mean, maybe some people like it, but I thought personally it was just made no sense whatsoever. Because like Mike was saying, dude, he has no experience as far as coordinating or anything of whatsoever. Which I guess it's not that big of a deal, but you need to start somewhere.
Not as a head coach job.
No,
that's not where you start.
No,
now you got this guy running your franchise, and you got nobody playing quarterback. You have literally your quarterback's about to leave, and whatever draft capital you get, now you have to go get what you just had.
Yeah, I would love to see Stafford go somewhere and get some success, man. He deserves a little something. Guy's been a workhorse. I mean, come on. He's like a Phillip Rivers kind of situation, man. He's been an outstanding regular season quarterback. Needs to get a little love. I don't even think he's won more than one playoff game, has he?
No.
Yeah, he needs to.
No, he hasn't won
2. Oh, he's not even won 1. I thought he might have gotten 1.
No, he's not won one.
Dallas once. Almost beat Dallas once.
Yep. And all right, so that's Dan Campbell. The Chargers got Brandon Staley, the defensive coordinator from, I want to say Denver. No, he had something to do with Denver the year before, whatever I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
Just give me a second to figure that out. Talk amongst yourselves.
The Giants are they keeping their head coach?
Yeah, Giants. Wait, what?
Giants didn't make a move, did they, with head coaching?
No.
Okay.
No.
But
Jaguars, did they?
Yeah, they got Urban Meyer.
Oh, that's right. That's such it's just such a, I don't know. That situation is just, I hope I'm wrong, but I agree with Mike's commentary on that. It just seems like a sheet flopping in the wind. I don't know.
They could have done better.
Yeah.
I think in Jacksonville, they prioritize selling tickets and that kind of buzz around what's going on with the team. But, I get that. Sometimes you have to do that. And maybe he'll be successful. We don't really know. But this whole hiring cycle for coaches, I don't really agree with a lot of these hires. And it kind of goes back to my position on the whole thing. Since I was a kid, in the 90s, you didn't really see a lot of coaches get fired every year. You saw guys come in and no matter what they did, they usually got 4 years or 3 years if they're really bad. But 4 years come in and put their stamp on a franchise and turn it around. And now, people just don't do that. You have guys like cycling out every couple seasons, sometimes every season. Hell, the 49ers, not that long ago, they had 3 coaches in 3 years. They had Chip Kelly and the other guy, and then there was they were after Harbaugh. I don't know who came after that. But it's just, you don't have stability. You just start over and over and go nowhere.
Brandon Staley was the Rams defensive coordinator.
Yeah. Okay.
So he doesn't have to move for his job.
That's nice.
I give him more credit than a lot of the other guys that got jobs.
But before that, he was the assistant coach for the Denver Broncos and Chicago Bears because he was only a defensive coordinator for the Rams for last year. That was it. Before that, though, he came from Denver.
Well, and it's training now to hire like the really young coaches too, the Sean McVay, takeoffs.
Yep. Everybody's one of the young guys. So
who's left? And they also got a coach beside. You said Houston hasn't gotten one. You guys
that's only one.
That's only Chargers, Jacksonville.
Oh, I got to tell you all about this. Houston interviewed Josh McCown for a head coaching job. Josh McCown, who's never been a coach on any level. Mm-hmm. I think he coached high school last year. I take that back. In the midst of being a practice squad player, I think for the Eagles or the Jets or one of the green teams, I can't remember. He was also a high school coach wherever his kids were going to school in the off weeks. And that's his coaching experience. And he got a head coaching interview with the Houston Texans. They are so fucked. They are so upside down. They are so completely screwed up right now. And they are the most they took over from where Cleveland was, and they are now squarely the most dysfunctional franchise. Yes. Whoever gets the job, they're losing their quarterback. They're going to be in a division where they're guaranteed to be last, at least for a couple of seasons, with no draft picks. Who the fuck would want that?
That's crazy. I mean, what's the logic behind that? That hey, he was a backup most of his career, so you got to have some coaching experience. Like, what? Where's the logic there?
So Deshaun Watson, his top pick is the Jets. He wants to go to the Jets.
Could be fun.
He said the Jets or Miami.
I would prefer Miami if I was him, just due to the location.
Right.
If nothing else. I mean, plus I think they've got a little bit more underneath than the Jets do. At least they had a defensive game last year and somewhat of an offense. I mean,
no, they have a decent team down there, but I mean, Tua is their quarterback. What do you do with Tua? They're going to develop him. You can't have Deshaun Watson and Tua.
Tua didn't look great deep into the season.
I agree. I absolutely agree. But are you going to go ahead and shoot down his ego within the first year or first off season that he has to go through?
I think
what's that?
I think you should. I'm tired of this fucking stardom right as they come in. I mean, look at Patrick Mahomes. That's a perfect way to do it, man. He set out his whole first year, and look how much it helped him. I'm tired of this. Throw him in the first year and expect the world. It's ridiculous.
No, I disagree with you on that. No, throw him in. Fuck that. If you're a top 10 pick and you're a quarterback, you better get your ass in there and win me some damn games. Well, otherwise, piss off and give me a tackle or, a guard.
You deserve to be one of these GMs with your short-term mentality.
Well, I mean, I want to win today. I don't want to win tomorrow, and that's the way they act.
Well, you have a point.
Let me tell you why that never works, or it only works in certain cases. You have to have success right away, and you have to have some continuity with the offensive coordinator, which is either the head coach being the coordinator, like an Andy Reid, or name some of the other guys that just they're not going to go anywhere. They have guys under them that hold the play sheets or whatever they do. But if you have guys that come in, they struggle the first year with that offensive coordinator, they're going to switch him out next year, try to get somebody to develop the quarterback. Then he's going to do a decent enough job to get a job somewhere else, or he's going to suck and they'll bring in somebody else. Then you have 3-4 years in a row of different coordinators and there's no continuity. So a quarterback that needs that coaching doesn't get it. A quarterback that doesn't need the coaching, that gets started right away, then sets the table for the other guys and kind of puts them in a bad spot. So I think, I side more with Miles on this. Unless you have a can't miss, he is ready to play today. Throw him in there. But the other guys, half the guys in the first round shouldn't play the first day. Nobody past the first round should play the first day. And that's a lot of quarterbacks every year. That's maybe one a year. And these guys get ruined. That's the only word you can use.
I agree that the ones that don't make it, I absolutely agree with, but that's what you're getting paid for, man.
Joe Burrow is going to get ruined in Cincinnati, guys. I hate to tell you.
You really think so?
Yes. Yep. I'd stake my life on it, dude. He is going to they're either going to run him out of town or beat him down to where nobody wants him, and he'll stick around just long enough to have no career left, or he's going to go somewhere else and do better. But Cincinnati's not the place, man. They got no offensive line. He got fucking killed this last year, out for the season. He's going to come back to a team that still doesn't have any talent. They're not going to pay anybody. So they're not going to get any talent. And they're going to waste his years like they did Stafford, Detroit.
They have no aspirations, man.
Well,
they kept that same coach forever. What was Marvin, whatever. And I think he went to the playoffs twice in his tenure, and they just kept hiring him back and back and back.
Yeah.
Crazy. They have no care. They don't give a shit, and they're not bashful about it. They're like,
Yeah. And he's the best coach they ever had.
Yeah.
So. All right, so this is something that we have to get into. With this Super Bowl coming up, it has to be said that Tom Brady is the best quarterback of all time. How can that be argued? All right, so in 21 seasons, he's went to 14 championship games. Won 10 of them. 10.
Yep. There's no debate.
He's good, man. Whatever. Everybody knows.
Killing the dead air, Miles. I knew you weren't going to say it.
I don't like it either, but there's no denying it, dude. He's the best. He's the best of all time.
Yes, he's good. Yeah. And if I was in New England, I'd be all about it. But I don't care.
I still don't want to see him win. I still don't want to see him win on Sunday. I want it to be a track meet the other way and just run him off the field. Best Super Bowls I've seen were the ones where the Eagles won and the Giants won twice. And it just felt great. It felt right at the end. Like, it needs to be. Thank you.
Now, if he loses, do you think he's done? Or, do you think he's done, period?
I think next year.
Do you?
Especially if he loses.
I think if he wins, he won't be back.
Yeah, that's a possibility. That's more so than if losing, for sure.
Yeah, because he signed a 2-year deal. Huh.
I don't know, man. I'm not the type of person who hates, but it's like this man has driven to me to that point, I feel like. Like, I'm not a hater. I don't look upon other people and say, this or that. But, man, when I see him and his whatever his I don't eat tomatoes. And I'm 43, and I catch I
don't eat tomatoes. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's right. And he can. See, I can't eat tomatoes, okay? And that pastor can, but he chooses not to. That's my big issue, okay? I want to, but I can't.
It's our finest hour.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I want to give a special shout out to my favorite player of the weekend, Equiminius St. Brown. Thank you.
What?
That's right. Equiminius St. Brown. Shout out.
And so what did he do?
He caught a touchdown, but his name is Equiminius St. Brown.
All right, I got the St. Brown part, but you can say that as many times as you want. The first one, and I'm not going to get it.
Oh, it's a thing of beauty.
Who do you play for? Is it Tampa Bay or Green Bay?
Green Bay.
Yeah, Green Bay gets these guys that play receiver that have all kinds of hyphens and apostrophes and weird shit in it. I think it's a gag. They're like, oh yeah, this guy on the draft board, yeah, just take him.
Just exactly. We'll take him. Equiminius.
Oh my gosh.
Valdez, Scantling.
His mom's a bath salt.
I'm going to make Tom Brady eat tomatoes one day if I see him. Show me that face.
Damn. All right, so who do y'all got, man, for Super Bowl?
Kansas City.
Kansas City. Mike?
Chiefs by less than a touchdown.
I have to go Kansas City as well, man. I just don't. I don't see. I don't think Tampa Bay can. I don't think their defense can handle them.
Please win.
All right, if you're going to do by less than a touchdown, what do you have? What do you have as the total score between both teams? You got like 54 or above or lower?
You're not talking to me. You're talking to Mike.
You don't want
I can't hear you.
That's all foreign to me.
Over 55 points to get combined or under?
Over.
Yeah, I got to take the over.
I think so too. I think it's going to be a high scoring affair.
Yeah, it should be.
I hope so.
I mean, it's going to be at least on one side of the ball, and I'm going to give that edge over to Kansas City. So.
I tell you what, if he throws 3 interceptions, Brady, they won't come away with a win.
Oh no, it'll be over. It'll be over because when they ran, like Michael was saying, Green Bay only got 6 points off those 3 turnovers. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yep, Green Bay killed themselves.
Well, guys, we may get together next week. We may not because there's nothing going on this weekend, but if some other news comes up, we'll get together and talk again.
All right.
Near the end of the season, we're going to have to start figuring out some other shit to talk about.
Sad.
Yeah.
March Madness coming up. I watched that.
Well, I would have loved to watch it last year, but what?
So let me tell you about a sport called golf.
Hey, I can talk some golf, man. I watched that. I can't. No. I can.
No,
I play a couple rounds every day after I get done on the computer, man. On that 2K21. It's good.
I get golf, and it seems exciting, but I can't watch a sport where nobody gets excited. I mean, it's like
where it's frowned upon. Where it's frowned upon to get excited. You get a funny look if you get excited. Like, how dare you? How dare you have emotion?
I don't know, man. The pressure in a single person sport like a tennis or a golf, somebody can appreciate that when it gets down to it. I mean.
I watch tennis. I enjoy I'm entertained by tennis. I'll go that far. It's entertaining.
What are you gonna do? It's an easy fix. You just get Gus Johnson to start calling golf, and it's done. Gus Johnson comes in there. Oh my God, the ball's going. It's in the fucking hole.
No.
They're taking their shirts off and fornicating in the street. I mean, Gus Johnson's the most excited guy I've ever heard call game. And I hate that he isn't calling enough pro games anymore. He basically just does college now. They don't deserve him.
Jim Nance's buttery voice just soothes my soul on Sunday morning golf.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good.
All right,
guys. We'll see y'all next week.
See ya.
Later.